Hello everyone and welcome to the video. I'm Professor Amanda and class has officially begun and we are still in the Brawler Cup. So if you haven't done one yet and you are kind of looking for a team for maybe a one-night cup, hoping to boost your ranking a bit, we are here for you. I'm just going to briefly go over the Brawler Cup. You guys probably know the meta and everything by now. If not, you can check it out more on Silph's website. So yeah, I did 4 different cups this month, each with a slightly different team. This one secured me a 4-0, so yeah, I just kind of want to go over it. Rainy Castform in the beginning. He is such a good little spammy Pokemon, very strong, and at least spits out those weather balls very quickly for some decent damage against most of the Pokemon in the meta. Obviously doesn't do well against the grass, but other than that, threatens all the other waters, which is what we're looking for. We had Ninetales. I used Ninetales in this spot instead of Sableye, mostly because of the uptick of charm users, and also there was a lot of Melmetal in a lot of the cups that I was facing, and I thought that this would at least kind of threaten those so people didn't bring them in as often. I went a little bit spicy with the Shadow Dusclops. The Shadow Dusclops has the punches, so it's running Ice Punch and Shadow Punch. Mostly I used as a good neutral generalist. It can throw out some moves even though the punches are quite weak. The Shadow gives it a little more damage and Dusclops is pretty bulky. So let's go ahead and jump into the matches here, huh? The first round I was up against Lundberger 26. Lundberger is part of the Pallet Town as well. They'll be doing some shoutcasts of gym breakers, so check out their channel. And they also do some cool PvP stuff in general for Pokemon Go. Very fun trainer, played her a couple times. And she is running a team with 2 flyers. We have Beedrill, which is pretty dangerous in this meta, and also a Golbat, a Goodra, and a Steelix. So the other ones I'm pretty familiar with, the matchups, how they go. Looking at the team comps, I think I decided to go with a double water strategy here. So I know that the Goodra is probably coming into play because it's a really strong mon, so I need to bring the Lapras. And then because I'm bringing the Lapras, yeah, I mean Lapras pretty much does well against the whole meta of her team, but I need to make sure that I save it for the Goodra. So I think I probably will lead something fairly generic like the Dusclops, just to kind of see what there is, and I will use Rainy Castform as a safe swap. So that is my guess of how I played it out. Let's get into it and see for sure. So game 1, yep, Lundberger's leading the Rainy Castform and I am leading that Shadow Dusclops, and since the ice move doesn't do anything to the Rainy Castform, I'm going straight for the Shadow Punches, which is even better for me because you get to it slightly quicker than the Ice Punch, and it's doing some stab damage even though it's such a weak little move. So this Weather Ball is not going to go anywhere near to taking it out, but I'm going to go ahead. Oh, looks like we CMP'd there, so I'll take this. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch and just get as much energy on my Rainy Castform as possible now that she is down a shield. So I switched at a pretty decent time. This is definitely not a Thunder, just a Weather Ball. So I don't bother shielding. And now we're just going to be spitting water at each other for a bit. I'm judging by her charge moves that she's probably going to throw a Thunder. She knows that this isn't one itself, but I wanted to do some chip damage as it's pretty low. And so now I know that even if this is a Thunder, I can shield it and I can just go ahead and I can water gun down this Rainy Castform. That's just what I plan on doing. So no matter what comes in, at least it's going to get a Weather Ball to the face here. It is the Goodra, and so yeah, neither move is very effective. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just Weather Ball it here. And I'm going to go back into the Dusclops because it has Ice Punch and I'm hoping I can get to it. She brings in very fast swap, this Ninetales. So again, gonna go with these Shadow Punches, but I feel in a decent spot because I still have a Weather Ball saved up on my Rainy Castform, and I'm able to get to 2 Shadow Punches. So I know that she's at least charging up a lot. Most likely has an overheat on this Ninetales. And this is an accident. I was just clicking too fast, and that's where the Rainy Castform, I think, was before. So I meant to bring in the Rainy Castform here to soak up this damage, and now I'm kind of in trouble because the Goodra still has a decent amount of energy on it, and my Lapras does not have a lot of health left. So this sucks. So it's going to take some fast maneuvering here. So I'm looking at all the damage here. I have to shield this up because I know that the Dragon Breath damage is going to do a lot to the Rainy Castform. And I'm not sure if I could get to the Silph. So I go ahead and switch in and I'm just going to chip away as much as possible at the Goodra because I know that the Ice Shard damage from the Lapras is really going to be the heavy hitting thing. And I want the Goodra as low as possible. I get kind of lucky here and she doesn't Dragon Breath me down. She throws the Muddy Water, which allows me to, I think, be able to at least reach it and get to the Silph because she doesn't have the energy to get to another Muddy Water. So I misplayed that a little bit. I think she maybe misplayed it just a small amount as well by not farming down that Castform, but it's really hard to tell how much energy I had. And like I said, those weather balls come in very quickly. So yeah, you just never know in the heat of the moment. And luckily I secured number 1. But I'm feeling pretty confident with this team, so I'm going to go ahead and run it again. So she leads the Goodra this time, but again, I'm not in a bad position necessarily because of these Ice Punches, which is going to do heavy damage. She doesn't know the other move on my Dusclops, and she chooses not to shield. Look how much damage that Ice Punch does. It's super effective against the Goodra. And I'm going to go ahead and just let this Dusclops go down. If it's just a Muddy Water, it's not going to take me out, and I'll be able to get to another move. Yeah, definitely doesn't want to take another Ice Punch, but at this range, a Shadow Punch would also do some heavy hitting, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this. She shields, and I believe I'll be able to make it to another Shadow Punch if she doesn't go. So she does choose to throw this Muddy Water, and it takes out my Dusclops. So now, obviously, coming in with that Lapras and just going to Ice Shard down in a pretty decent spot because, like I said, the Lapras does well against almost the entire team. Bringing in a Ninetales to a Lapras is a good sign that you don't really have a good Lapras answer in the back. So she brings in the Rainy Castform, and I immediately switch out because even though the Rainy Castform has a great thing against the Ninetales, it does very good in the mirror too if you have the shields. So I'm going to go ahead and shield up whatever comes in because I'm going to take out this Rainy Castform. And then I should be able to take it out with the remaining health of the Castform. If not, I have a fully loaded, or at least fully healthy Lapras in the back that will take care of it. So again, feeling in a pretty decent spot here. So this Thunder is going to be enough to take out the Castform, and I'm going to just go ahead and get to this Weather Ball most likely. She goes ahead and throws her own Weather Ball. Even if I let this go because even if it's an overheat, then the attack is even lower, which is great for my Lapras. It is not. It was just a Weather Ball. Doesn't do very much to a Rainy Castform. So I'm going to go ahead and throw my super effective one, and I'm able to Water Gun down. So good games to my opponent here. Nice job, Lily Bear. It's always fun playing you. Moving on to the second round, we're up against LeahSlice. And she's got a very interesting team with a Jumpluff in the first spot. Jumpluff is like a Tropius Jr. It's very bulky and has the moves that can hit a fighter pretty decently hard, and also against other grasses. It is a little bit fearful of the fires, obviously. We have a Wigglytuff, also doesn't do the greatest against the Ninetales and the Drapion or the Tropius. So I feel okay. The Marowak does, however, do great against the Ninetales and the Tropius, but fears this double water thing that I have. Cofagrigus, Shadow Machamp, which is the bane of like this cup. It's just so strong, it's so broken. So I'm fearful of bringing in the Shadow Machamp and then her own Lapras. I don't quite remember how I play this, but I do know that I often use Drapion as a safe swap. So, and I'm most likely going to bring in that Ninetales because as long as it can avoid the Marowak, I think it will do fairly well. So let's go ahead and look. So getting into game one here, I'm leading the Tropius and going into a Wigglytuff. This is fine. Those charms are still chunking even though Tropius is quite thick, but I know that it takes forever for the charmers to get to their charge moves. And so I'm going to go ahead and do some chip damage here, throwing the Leaf Blade. She chooses to shield it up, so I'm going to go ahead and throw another Leaf Blade. And I think I've decided at this point, since the Tropius' health is so low, that if she throws a charge move at me, I will just let it go and come in and farm down with my Drapion, which is looks like what's going to happen here. I mean, it's not worth saving the Tropius at this point. Even if I shielded, I wouldn't be able to take out the Wigglytuff. So she does win switch advantage, but it looks like I go, okay, I come in with the Rainy Castform because I know that she won't be able to get to another move. And Rainy Castform with energy is dangerous. But I see that Jumpluff come in, so it's an immediate swap out to the Drapion. And I know that I have to use Drapion basically to sweep this because the Rainy Castform is not going to do much. I got really lucky here and I got that defense drop on the Shadow Machamp using the Crunch. And so now the goal is to get up to the Sludge. So then once the Sludge Bomb goes off, it should be enough to take out this Machamp. And then I'm hopefully going to be able to get up to another Sludge Bomb to put this Jumpluff down as low as possible. So the goal here for me is to get to the Sludge Bomb, do a lot of damage on the Jumpluff, and then hopefully get enough energy on the Rainy Castform to get up to a Thunder, which since it's a flying type as well, it's at least going to do a little bit of damage. Obviously the Weather Balls are going to do nothing. So here we go. We got the Sludge Bomb 1. I'm hoping to get to a Crunch, but I'm not able to get there. This Aerial Ace is going to take out the Drapion. And now it's up to you, Rainy C. Go as fast as you can. There's 1, 2, 3 Bullet Seeds. 4 Bullet Seeds go through, but I am at a Thunder, and this should be enough to take out the Jumpluff if I hit all my bubbles. So the Jumpluff goes down, but obviously very close to an Energy Ball. And I was a little bit concerned, but thankfully able to do some nice energy management. And coming in with that Castform at the beginning really saved me there. So let's go on to game number 2 here, leading the Rainy Castform into the Lapras. Again, this is what I would want to see. Rainy Castform does win this. Obviously, you have to be a little bit fearful of that Skull Bash. Leah using the Wigglytuff as a safe swap, but I'm going to go ahead and use that Drapion as one, and I'm going straight Sludge Bomb. As you can see, obviously, even still, it's chunking away. It's a part Dark type, even though that it's just taking neutral damage since the Poison typing here. Gonna go ahead and throw the second Sludge Bomb, shielding up both. Lucky for me, she threw the charge move here, so I will let the Drapion go down because, like I said, those charms are just chunking. She does a really nice undercharge there, able to get in 1 extra charm. But now, thankfully, I brought the Ninetales this time, and the charms are not doing much here, and I'm just charging up a little bit of extra energy for these Weather Balls. And we'll see what she has in the back. We know that there's a Lapras, but my Castform has a lot of energy on it, so I'm feeling okay. The Lapras comes back in, throwing the Surf immediately. Quick swap to the Rainy Castform to catch it. Obviously not very effective since it's water type. And then we see the Machamp, but I am fully loaded on energy and again in a pretty decent position. 2 Weather Balls is enough to knock out a Shadow Machamp. So I get there, even get 1 little extra, and now I can play this 2 different ways, but since I have Overheat and the Lapras is still rather healthy, I don't think that's going to be enough, so I'm determined to block up whatever the Lapras throws from this Rainy Castform, and I'm going to hit it with a Thunder, which should be enough to take it out. So there goes the Surf. I mean, these Ice Shards are doing nothing. The Thunder is hit now, and since it's a super effective move, this Lapras should be going down, and that is game number 2. Moving on to round 3. Round 3 against HurricaneKaz. We just saw her in the Silph Showdown performing as well. The team is slightly different than what she did in the Showdown. She's running with Sunny Castform, Wigglytuff, Pelipper, which is a great safe swap, and Polion, which is pretty rough for my team. As you see, I do not have a fighter. Venusaur and Steelix. So I am a little bit worried because, yeah, like I said, since I don't have a fighter, and normally my Ninetales takes care of the Steel types and the Charmers, but I don't want to bring it in because waterfall damage is just horrendous. And also with this Pelipper coming in with these very fast Weather Balls, I'm assuming what she's going to do is exactly what I'm going to do, and that is run a double water strategy. So because of this, what would go best for her is the Venusaur. So I obviously need to bring in that Tropius. Tropius does decent against almost the whole team. Obviously with the Pelipper and Empoleon, it's not doing as heavy of work against natural waters like the Rainy Castform. So yeah, it's going to take a bit of maneuvering, and I remember how these matches go, and you guys are in for a treat. So leading Empoleon here, I know that a Drill Peck won't take me out, but obviously it's going to hit for some pretty heavy damage. So the goal is to get the Empoleon down as low as possible. The Empoleon is the hardest thing I think that this team can deal with. I am at 2 Leaf Blades. So I'm throwing one, hoping that she shields. She does not, so I'm going to go use Lapras as my safe swap. So Lapras obviously can tank a couple of these. I'm a little bit of an idiot. I should have known that she would hit CMP at the same time. So she hits the Drill Peck, and I should have, not thrown yet so I could charge up a little bit extra since the waterfalls don't really do that much damage to the Lapras. She does let it go. We are both energy dry. And in comes the Venusaur. I knew this would be coming, and I'm kind of in trouble here because my Tropius is really low, my Lapras is pretty low, and Rainy Seed doesn't do that great against it. So my goal here is to do what I didn't do last time and charge up extra energy. I'm almost at 2 Silphs. I'm basically at a Skull Bash. I'm hoping she didn't really count, but even if she did, she doesn't want this to go down. And this is kind of the Hail Mary. I swap in my Tropius, throw this Leaf Blade, hoping she thinks it's an Air Slash, which will knock her out. She does. So now she is at least shieldless, but in comes this Pelipper. I'm able to get to this Leaf Blade, but since it's a flying type fast move, my Tropius is going down quite quick. And the Rainy Sea is just here to be a sponge now, essentially. So even if they Hurricane me, I can't afford to shield it because the Venusaur still has energy, and my Lapras needs to basically take care of it at the end. So she threw a Weather Ball, and now I've just decided, I'm going to just try to go ahead and Water Gun down the Pelipper. I could throw a Weather Ball, but then that wouldn't be good for me because they're not very effective. Neither move is very effective against the Venusaur, and I want to be able to at least chip away as much as possible with the Venusaur. So I am basically at 2 Weather Balls. She does switch out. I'm able to throw one, and I'm going to try to get up to the other one to take out the Venusaur, but she throws right away, which is a debate for me. So I decide, okay, the Rainy Sea is going to go down. This is all on Lapras. I can't throw any moves. She throws a second Frenzy Plant. I block this up. I know that my Ice Shard went through, so she will go down because I blocked this up. And I now have a Silph to throw at that Pelipper. Look at the HP that is left. That game was incredibly, ridiculously close. So barely securing game 1. I think we're both kind of laughing at this point because we know what each other's strategy is because, heck, it's the same strategy. This time I'm choosing to lead Lapras as it does fairly decent against Venusaur and the whole lineup here. She leads Pelipper, and now it's kind of a mind game because I definitely don't want to take a Hurricane, but at the same point, if you shield a Weather Ball, it is not good. So she shields up the first thing, which makes me think that it's going to be a Hurricane, but then I was like, I think she's just playing mind games with me. And I lucked out. I was right. So she just threw a Weather Ball. I'm charging up a little bit extra before she gets to another, throwing off the Silph, which is definitely just chipping away at the Pelipper. The Ice Shards are the things that are doing more damage. This is most likely a Hurricane, so I will shield it up. I was like, I think so. And then I'm going to just go ahead and try to get as much energy as possible before throwing another, and we'll see what she decides to do. So she brings in the Empoleon, so I know that there's most likely that Venusaur in the back, and my goal is to get to this Skull Bash, which I barely am able to do. So now it's up to HurricaneKaz to see if she's going to shield this as well. I don't think she wants to. Boom! Even though it's not very effective, it does that much damage. But yeah, I mean, she didn't want to shield it because then she would have a Venusaur that had nothing, and against an Air Slash Tropius, it's not what the Venusaur necessarily wants to see. So I take this Drill Peck, she immediately swaps out, I swap into my Tropius, and I kind of think I misplayed this here, looking back on it. So she's definitely hitting me with the Sludge Bomb here, but I know that she still has a lot of energy left on this Empoleon. What I should have done is gone for the Aerial Ace here. I baited like I did last game, but this time she does not fall for it, and now she's going to be able to get to another move. I have to shield this one up because obviously with that much health left and a shield, not going to do well against the Venusaur. The one bright side is I am able to fast move down this Venusaur and throw this Leaf Blade. Unfortunately for me, like I said, all that energy, able to throw before I do, still has a shield and just not enough health to do much. I am going to get taken out by this Drill Peck because I wasn't able to get to 2. So this is where you say, like, never bait. Because if it doesn't work, things like that happen. So, I mean, really well played, really well thought out. We called each other's baits a lot in that one, and win number 2 goes to HurricaneKaz. So game number 3, I led Rainy Castform and she led Empoleon. Now the reason I led Rainy Castform, because it's kind of a risk, because if she would have led Venusaur, which she told me afterwards she was really heavily debating, it would have been over for me because I really wouldn't have had that great of a swap. But I was thinking that Rainy Castform does the best against Pelipper and against Empoleon, and I could maybe use Lapras as a safe swap if I needed to. And plus for her, Venusaur does the worst against the teams because it kind of is a neutral matchup against Lapras, and it doesn't do that great against the Tropius. So I was really banking on the fact that she wouldn't. This time I properly blocked up the Hurricane again from the Pelipper, and now I am at double Silph. Let's see what she decides to do. She's going to let this go, so I go ahead and throw again because I'm not going to let her get to another Hurricane or get any more damage off on this Lapras. So down goes the Pelipper. I did win switch, which is what I wanted, and in comes this Empoleon, and again, going to try to get to this Skull Bash. Going ahead and throwing this Drill Peck. It's not going to take me out, so I feel okay about it. And then she immediately swaps to the Venusaur, which, those Vine Whips are obviously doing a hefty amount of damage, but I was still able to get to the Skull Bash, and that changed the game. So with the Venusaur on such low health, it doesn't matter if this is a Sludge Bomb. It doesn't matter how low my Tropius gets because I am in a pretty good spot overall. The Empoleon does not have a lot of health left, so my Rainy Castform can take it out, even if they choose not to shield this Leaf Blade. Which I don't know if she does or not, but these waterfalls are not doing enough damage, so it doesn't matter. She's got to throw the Drill Peck to take me out, otherwise she's going to go down to these air slashes. As you can see, I don't even bother throwing my Leaf Blade because I know that I can just come in and water gun down the Empoleon. So really good, really close matches. Oh, I love games like this, where it's just like, you know, down to the wire, very sweaty battles. And speaking of, we were talking about how HurricaneKaz was in the Silph Showdown last month. So was DeFi. You guys also probably know DeFi. She does a wonderful job shoutcasting a lot of things as well. Very integral part of Girls at PvP and just the PvP community in general. And she is running kind of a spicy team here. She's got the Slurpluff, which we talked about before, has really great charge moves if it can get up to it. Has the Energy Ball and a Flamethrower, which, threatens almost all of the meta. Ninetales, a Vigoroth, a Kofagurgus, an Electivire, which I was really afraid of because I'm guessing that it's running Wild Charge and Ice Punch, so it has a nice bait, but this bait does pretty decent against like my flyers like Tropius, and even Drapion doesn't want to take either of these moves. And then the Mantin, which does decent against the Tropius as well, and obviously great against the Ninetales, which I like to use when people have Charmers. But my guess is most people who have Electivire, they like to lead it, and so I'm going to go ahead and lead my Ninetales in hopes that, since I can get to the moves relatively quickly as well, that she at least has to throw the Wild Charge and is debuffed. But yeah, it's a crapshoot. I am not that comfortable with this team composition, and wish me luck here against DeFi, because she is a force to be reckoned with. So game 1, she doesn't lead the Electivire, making me think maybe she doesn't have it, but we could see she's maybe saving it for the back, trying to burn shields. and then it's going to wild charge me and knock my thing out. So she throws, this is just a body slam. I know I can tank it, so I'm going to go ahead and charge up a little bit extra. And it's just kind of a race of the fast moves here. Neither one of the, or charge moves, neither one of the fast moves doing that much damage. She goes ahead and throws another body slam here. I know it'll take me out, but I know that if I block once, I can reach a flamethrower, or not a flamethrower, a weather ball. So I'm choosing to do so. And at this point, I decide if she throws another body slam at me, that's perfectly fine. They won't be able to get to another, and I will come in with one of these two, which are really great for, farming down and just getting a lot of energy. I think I choose to do it with the Drapion, yes, because Drapion coming in with an energy advantage can at least maybe debuff whatever's coming in. I'm still kind of worried about this Electivire, but let's see what she chooses to bring. So the fact that she brings in the Cofagrigus here, which has a horrible matchup against the Drapion, makes me believe that the Slurpluff is in the back, which is also fine. So she chooses to shield up the first. I'm already so heavy ahead in energy that this is fine. I'm going to throw this Crunch, which is super effective. I don't get the defense debuff, but I know that even any charge move that this Cofagrigus is going to throw is not going to knock out my Drapion. Yeah, so she throws that Shadow Ball. It's not very effective. Still does a heavy chunk, as you can see. But I'm able to get to this Crunch, and I'm going to take it down. But I know that, like we saw before, the Charm still does a lot of damage to a Drapion. So I switch out immediately to the Castform, because even though, like I said, these Charms are chunking away, I have a shield, and I can get to these Weather Balls really quickly. And these Weather Balls will be enough to take out the Slurpluff. So there is one. There is two. I didn't time that very well, but Charms always sneak through, so it's just a fact of life, guys. So I'm able to squeak by here with game one. So, okay, I'm thinking game one, this is fine. She didn't bring the Electivire. She probably is not going to bring the Electivire. And then game two, I realized I was wrong. And so I am very scared here. I know that these wild charges are coming, but I'm also looking at how fast the CP is going down just from the water guns alone. Look at that non-effective weather ball. Look how much damage that did. So at this point I said, you know what, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and shield this up, and I'm going to switch out, because if it is another wild charge, I'm going to just catch it on the Drapion and let it go down. But because the Wild Charge did so much debuff damage, I mean, this Poison Jab, which barely does anything, took out the Electivire. So that Mon is super squishy. So the thing I was fearing, turns out, even had the worst matchup, turned out kind of okay. Now I have a little bit of extra energy. I'm going to go ahead and let this Mantine throw. If it's a Bubble Beam, that's fine. I'll be able to get to 3 crunches. If it was an Ice Beam, I would still be able to get to another crunch, so I wasn't too concerned. So even though my attack is lower, I know that 3 crunches will take it out. She chooses to shield up, so I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll go ahead and just let the Drapion go. But she Bubble Beams me again, and so I go ahead to preserve, because I have a crunch almost like stored on this Drapion. Going back into the Mantine, she comes in with a Slurpluff, but again, look at this. All that energy on my Castform is not going to go to waste here. So I'm going to go ahead and just charge. Throwing this, see what DeFi chooses to do here. She's not going to shield it up. She's going to kind of let the Slurpluff go down. This is fine. Like I said, I'm almost at a crunch. And then I realize, hey, I can farm this down since the Poison Jabs are super effective. And now I have that crunch to throw at the Mantine. This isn't super great for me, because an Ice Beam does obviously a lot of work to this Tropius here. But I know that at this range, it at least won't take me out. So what I need to do, I choose to block it anyway, just to be safe. That's fair. That's completely fair, because I know I'll get to a Leaf Blade. Even though I got Bubble Beam baited, I was still able to get to it, and because the Mantine is so low, this Leaf Blade can take it out. So yeah, it was just a short tournament, just 4 rounds, but as you can see, pretty good battles. Gives a good indication of how the team can play against other teams. And in the end, yep, I ended up with a 4-0 sweep. I haven't had a sweep in a while, so it felt pretty good. And against the ladies of this caliber too. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope that if you still have a Brawler Cup going on, that you can secure a good score to, you know, kind of bring it up. And maybe you'll see me next month in the showdown. We'll see. This 4-0 put me at, I believe, number like 150 in the world. So if I can keep this, then yeah, I think that the top 200 people are invited. And that's pretty much it for us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to check out more of our content on Twitch. Thank you to our Patreons. Catch you guys in the next video.